with respect to former President Trump. There's some question about whether or not it's a bullet or shrapnel that hit his ear.
Ever since the attempted assassination on Donald Trump, several government agencies have been roped into an investigation. But some, like FBI Director Christopher Wray, believe that Trump was not hit by the bullet. Could there be something deeper happening behind the scenes? What dark secrets are still hidden about the incident? Join us as we explore the latest details from the investigation being conducted by the House Committee and how the FBI director attacks Trump in court and reveals everything. Did Trump really get shot? On July 25, 2024, FBI Director Christopher Wray appeared before the House Judiciary Committee. During the hearing, Wray told lawmakers that it was not clear whether Trump's injury came from a bullet. Instead, he claimed that the former president may have been wounded by shrapnel or broken glass. You will recall that on July 13th, Trump survived an assassination attempt while speaking at a rally in Butler, Pennsylvania. However, several conspiracy theories have emerged since the incident. This includes claims that Trump wasn't actually hit by the bullet on that fateful day. Wray also claimed that it wasn't clear where the bullet that grazed Trump's ear ended up. But in the end, he assured the House that the FBI was doing all it could to uncover the truth about the incident. Later that day, Trump responded to Wray's claims on his social media platform, Truth Social. In his statement, the former president criticized Wray for doubting the facts, while stating that it was, in fact, a bullet that hit his ear. He emphasized that his injury was not caused by glass or shrapnel. Trump also cited the report given by the hospital, which clearly stated that he had a bullet wound to the ear. Former White House Dr. Ronnie Johnson also posted a letter on Truth Social, accusing Wray of being political with his statement. Jackson claimed that since there was no evidence that it wasn't a bullet, the FBI director was wrong for suggesting otherwise. He also maintained that since the hospital confirmed it, it shouldn't be up to question anymore. On the contrary, Representative Dan Goldman spoke in support of Wray. He claimed that Donald Trump was trying to use the shooting as a promotion for his presidential campaign. So if he's lying about whether he was actually shot, that's something that the American people should know. Former Undersecretary for Homeland Security, Juliette Kayyem, also commented on the situation on X. She claimed that it was up to Trump to prove that he was really shot. Although she received backlash for the post, Kayyem stated that it was okay to condemn the assassination and still demand the truth. However, other Trump defenders in the Senate had a different opinion. Senator Lindsey Graham, a high-ranking member of the Judiciary Committee, sent a letter to Wray asking him to correct his testimony immediately. According to him, Wray was destroying the FBI's credibility by making such statements. But the conspiracy theories had quickly spread online, along with many others. Following the shooting, social media was filled with posts suggesting that the Secret Service intentionally allowed the shooting to happen. This theory gained more traction after an anonymous 4chan whistleblower delivered a detailed document that easily implicated the Secret Service. Although the user was known as a troll, who often posted misleading information, he claimed that he was actually a Secret Service counter-sniper. He then revealed how he was given orders by the head of the Secret Service not to shoot the assassin. The claim was backed by zero evidence and was disproved by many officials. However, it ended up being circulated to more mainstream social media platforms. This was the beginning of a heavy backlash against the Secret Service. Some even claimed that the agents assigned to protect Trump were incompetent. Many also complained about the women on the team, claiming that they weren't capable of providing security for a presidential candidate like Trump. Videos and photos were posted out of context to paint the female agents in a bad light. One of the photos showed a Secret Service officer cowering behind Trump during the shooting. But it would later be revealed that the agent was part of a group surrounding Trump as he was led off the stage. Some ex-users also alleged that Secret Service resources were intentionally pulled away from Trump. Apparently, the agents were reassigned to protect First Lady Jill Biden at a campaign event in Pittsburgh. Secret Service spokesman Anthony Guglielmi has denied this theory, saying that protection models don't work that way. He also claimed that Trump was actually given additional protection as he began to travel more and more. It would later be revealed that certain modifications required for Trump's security were not provided. However, according to Director Kimberly Cheadle, the assets requested for that day were given. Billionaire Elon Musk also made a post on Twitter, blaming the Secret Service for not protecting Trump. He claimed that it was extreme incompetence or deliberate action by the Secret Service that enabled the shooter to get on the roof. The more people tweeted about it, the more the conspiracy theories spread. Many people also suggested that the Department of Justice, FBI, and CDC could not be trusted as well. On the other hand, there were those who believed Trump was behind it all. People began to spread manipulated pictures with fake backstories. According to these stories, Trump had allegedly staged the entire shooting just so he could gain an edge in the elections. But it wasn't just internet trolls that spread this theory. LinkedIn founder Reid Hoffman wrote an email to journalists where he stated that the shooting was encouraged and maybe even staged. He would eventually swallow his words and apologize for the comment. In the midst of the buzz that surrounded the shooting, misinformation became the norm. For example, because the identity of the shooter was not confirmed yet, people began to post fake images. Former Trump's consultant, Roger Stone, came online to claim that the shooter was a Pittsburgh man. Apparently, the shooter had pleaded guilty to charges after getting in a fight with police in an anti-Trump protest. This turned out to be false. Others also claimed that the man was an Antifa extremist and posted the picture of an Italian sports journalist. As the post went viral, many people believed this man was actually the shooter. But shortly after the post was made, the journalist responded. He claimed that the post was organized by haters trying to ruin his life since 2018. He also revealed that he was in Rome at the time, so it couldn't possibly be him. But as these false accusations were being debunked online, people's curiosity only grew stronger. If these weren't the shooter, then who did it? Identifying the shooter. Seconds after firing multiple shots at Trump, the shooter was neutralized by Secret Service agents. At first, his identity remained unknown, but just a little while later, authorities revealed his name as 20-year-old Matthew Crooks. The AR style used in the attack was purchased legally by his father. According to a source close to the investigation, the gun was purchased 6 months ago. There were also a couple of explosive devices found in the shooter's vehicle. This proved that he probably had a plan B in case the shooting didn't work out. Crooks, a small-town boy, came from a community in Bethel Park, Pittsburgh. He was from a middle-class family, and even his family was shocked to learn about what he did. Neighbors described him as a quiet boy. But that was only typical of the neighborhood. People didn't speak too much to each other, and very few people had interacted with the Crooks. Prior to the shooting, Crooks had planned to enroll at a private institution outside of Pittsburgh. However, he had not started attending classes just yet. Those who knew him described him as a brilliant student. They claimed he had a bright future ahead of him. But he chose to write his name on the wrong side of history, and his life came to an abrupt end. The day before the shooting, Crooks was seen at a local shooting club. Apparently, he was there to practice on the rifle range in preparation for his big day. Shortly afterwards, he purchased some ammunition. Some he bought online, others he went to the store to purchase. He then asked his employer at a nursing home for a day off. According to his boss, Crooks had promised to come back as soon as the next day. Unfortunately, he never returned. Sometimes before the shooting, Crooks searched the internet for information about both Trump and Biden. He searched for dates of Trump's rally in Butler. He also checked the dates for the Democratic National Convention in Chicago. Crooks also left a message on Steam, which read, "July 13th will be my premiere. Watch as it unfolds." On the day of the assassination attempt, he asked to borrow the rifle from his father. He claimed that he wanted to go to a shooting range. Since this wasn't the first time Crooks was going out with the gun, his father allowed him. However, he never imagined his son was on the way to commit murder. That day, Crooks visited a local gun shop. He purchased up to 50 rounds of 5.56mm ammo. He also dropped by at a Home Depot to buy a 5-foot ladder, although it appears he never used it. He then drove to Trump's rally in Butler, Pennsylvania. His car was parked about a third of a mile away at a gas station. For at least. An hour before the shooting, Crooks was seen walking near the rally area. Another video also showed Crooks pacing just outside the rally around 5:06 p.m. This was just an hour and 5 minutes before the first shots were fired. Since he kept appearing and disappearing, some people began to get suspicious. They approached the security agencies to report him, but nothing was done at the time. Crooks then made his way to a nearby building and climbed up the air conditioner unit. He then moved to a much taller building and positioned his gun. Just before the shooting, people spotted him on the roof and tried to alert the Secret Service. It was also later revealed that the Secret Service knew about his presence at least 20 minutes before he opened fire. As the situation unfolded, a Butler Township police officer attempted to stop Crooks, but as he tried to climb the roof, he came face to face with a gun and had to retreat. This was when Crooks finally started firing. 26 seconds later, he was dead. It was later revealed that Crooks had done a little research days before the shooting. By analyzing his digital footprints, officials discovered that he Googled details of JFK's murder days before the attack. While testifying before the committee, the agency claimed that Crooks had searched how far away Oswald was from Kennedy. They also claimed that Crooks became very focused on the former president around July 6th. This was the day he registered to attend the Butler rally. But even with all the details they had, the FBI still didn't know why he did it. He appeared to have planned and acted alone. He didn't have any accomplices or co-conspirators. As a matter of fact, those who knew him described him as a solitary person. Ray also claimed that Crooks flew a drone over the rally venue about 2 hours before Trump took the stage. Although he didn't fly directly over the stage, Crooks managed to survey the location for 11 minutes. The drone was later recovered in Crooks' car during investigations. He was also said to have searched online about major depressive disorder, but the most disturbing revelation was that he was part of a few encrypted platforms. While analyzing his cell phone, investigators mentioned that he visited multiple dark websites. However, they've been unable to crack these sites to examine his history and footprints. In his house, officers found an explosive device, along with a secondary cell phone. While many believed his actions were political, others argued that he wasn't as active in any party as the media portrayed. But as more information was made available to the public, the Secret Service came under heavy scrutiny. The backlash against Kimberly Cheadle. At the center of the whole situation was Kimberly Cheadle, the director of the Secret Service. As soon as the attack took place, Cheadle was grilled by a bipartisan House committee over the attempted assassination. Cheadle himself described the shooting as the most significant operational failure at the Secret Service in decades. During the hearing, lawmakers from both parties began calling for Cheadle's resignation. But although she accepted responsibility, she refused to step aside. During the hearing, Republican Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, posted on X, asking Cheadle to resign. Representative Jamie Raskin and Oversight Committee Representative James Comer also jointly called for Cheadle's resignation. This wasn't the first time the Secret Service would be faced with a scandal. In 2012, 6 agents were either resigned or retired after they were caught with sex workers while accompanying President Obama to Colombia. In 2014, Omar Gonzalez managed to enter the East Room of the White House. He remained undetected for a while before he was finally caught and apprehended. Julia Pearson was the director at the time, and he resigned after the incident. For nearly 4 hours, Cheadle was questioned by lawmakers, and for the most part, she managed to remain impassive. Sometimes the questioning was brutal, and the atmosphere in the chamber was filled with tension. Sometimes she would not provide answers to questions, and sometimes her answers were vague. Nancy Mace of South Carolina even offered Cheadle the chance to resign on the spot. She declined. Others, like Congressman Nick Langworthy, expressed their frustration in very clear terms. Florida Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna also condemned Cheadle's performance, saying she was disgusted. To add to the weight of the criticism, Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene added that the entire country was demanding her resignation. In a video posted on X, Florida Republican Carlos Jimenez was seen standing on the same building where Thomas Crooks was killed. He then added a caption that read, "I'm 70 years old. If I was able to get on this roof, anybody can." He also showed how Crooks had a clear shot at the former president and was almost successful with his plans. In response to the criticism, Cheadle stated that a full report on the internal investigation would be released in 60 days. Some Democrats used part of the hearing to call for gun reforms. They argued that the shooting was made possible because semi-automatic rifles were easy to obtain. As the hearing came to a close, House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer delivered his address. He claimed that this was a rare occasion where both parties would come to a bipartisan resolution. He also claimed that the American people have lost confidence in the Secret Service and the way it operates. Democrat Jamie Raskin also gave his closing remarks, stating that he believed Cheadle should step aside as director. According to him, This was the only appropriate apology to the American people. Cheadle was also questioned about the rumors that Trump was denied additional security. This claimed that this was false and stated that she had no request to beef up his resources. At some point, Congressman Nick Langworthy became visibly angry as he questioned Cheadle. He questioned whether the Secret Service was really alerted to the threat by local police. Langworthy then accused her of poor judgment, which nearly cost Trump his life. He then called for the president to fire her immediately. Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna also suggested bringing perjury charges against Cheadle. She claimed that the members of Congress were sitting ducks with her in charge. Republican Lauren Boebert also questioned whether Cheadle had apologized to Trump after the shooting. She replied that she had reached out to the former president with a proper apology. Boebert then used the opportunity to introduce some conspiracy theories. This included the fact that Cheadle had communicated with the White House on an encrypted device or app. Cheadle denied using her personal phone for official communications with the White House. But Boebert was adamant and called for an investigation into the claim. This would mean that Cheadle would surrender her phone to officers. If found guilty, it could mean the end of her career. Boebert also questioned whether a man in a gray suit was present at the rally. It appeared she was implying that he was an agent of the ATF. This was meant to promote the theory that the ATF was behind the shooting. Cheadle responded by stating that she does not have such information. Boebert also asked whether the counter-sniper was ordered to hold fire even after Crooks shot at Trump. Cheadle responded by stating that the agents were trained to neutralize a threat without asking for permission. Maryland Congressman Jamie Raskin noted that Trump's shooting wasn't the only mass shooting that took place that day. He revealed that in Alabama, a man was arrested for fatally shooting his wife and 4 children. Raskin claimed that weapons like semi-automatic rifles used by the gunman were too easy to obtain. Multiple Democratic members also used the opportunity to call for more gun reforms. Addressing Cheadle, Marjorie Taylor Greene repeatedly questioned her about the names of the agents assigned to Trump that day. Once again, she refused to provide these details. When Greene asked Cheadle if she had a timeline from the rally shooting, Cheadle responded saying she has one that does not have specifics. Laughter erupted in the room as Greene expressed her shock at the incompetence. She then ended her session by asking whether there was a conspiracy to kill Trump. Cheadle also denied these claims. However, on July 25th, Cheadle finally succumbed to pressure and submitted her resignation letter. In this final address, she mentioned that she was taking full responsibility for the security lapse. She also claimed that it was only proper to put the needs of the agency first, and she had to make the decision with a heavy heart. While she had previously determined never to resign, Cheadle claimed she did not want calls for her resignation to be a distraction from the mission of the Secret Service. President Joe Biden also stated that he was grateful for her decades of public service and that he would assign a new director soon. But for now, Secretary of Homeland Security Alejandro Mayorkas appointed Ronald Rowe as the acting director. Rowe was the deputy director for over a year and had been in the position since April 2023. But as soon as he was assigned as the acting director, he was also forced to face the committee for a heated questioning session. Now it's time for today's subscriber pick. As we explore details of how the FBI director attacks Trump in court and reveals everything, the revelations are quite shocking. How did the Secret Service allow an armed person to get that close to Trump? Why were all the warning signs ignored? And why did the FBI director try to make light of the situation by claiming that Trump was not shot? After he received heavy backlash for the statement, Wray immediately circled back and apologized. But his words had spread far and wide. It has become a conspiracy theory, which is still being spread today. Do you think this theory holds any water? Could it really be true that this whole thing was staged to boost Trump's chances? Or is this another attempt at disproving Trump's integrity? Share your thoughts with us in the comments section below. Now, let's get back to the video. The questioning. Ronald Rowe defends the Secret Service. Ronald Rowe's reign started on a very rocky path. He was taking over the agency in the middle of its biggest scandal. A former president almost got killed on their watch, and there was a whole lot of evidence proving they were incompetent. When he appeared before Congress, Rowe had a more candid tone compared to Cheadle. He admitted that he was ashamed of the way his agency handled the planning for the event. Although he agreed with the committee that the Secret Service was guilty, he wasn't willing to start firing employees like they wanted. Instead of going on a firing spree, Rowe stated that he needed to thorough review before making such a decision. He also mentioned climbing to the shooter's position and evaluating his line of sight. This way, he could see how his agency had allowed an assassin to target a government asset in front of the whole world. For an agency known for its efficiency, the performance of the Secret Service was disappointing. As a career law enforcement officer and a 25-year veteran with the Secret Service, I cannot defend why that roof was not better secured to prevent similar lapses from occurring in the future. He classified the lack of preparation as a huge failure, which was caused by a lack of imagination. He claimed that his men never anticipated that Trump would be targeted, but that they should have. For 3 hours, Rowe was grilled by the committee members, and he appeared to be more prepared than Cheadle ever was. While answering questions, Rowe revealed that the Secret Service never received a warning from local police that the shooter was armed. This rumor was being spread online, claiming that the Secret Service were told about Crooks 30 seconds before Trump was shot. He then expressed regret that his agency failed to launch drones to survey the site as planned. The drones were delayed from 3 p.m. until 5 p.m. due to cell network issues. But if this was true, how did Crooks manage to survey the area with a drone before the attack? Rowe claimed he had no explanation for this, but that people often fly drones all the time to survey campaign sites. Rowe also revealed that there were serious communication gaps between the Secret Service agents and local law enforcement. This was majorly because the agents were not able to hear radio warnings about the shooter being armed before it was too late. Rowe claimed that if he really had that information, his agents would have addressed the situation more quickly. To prevent this kind of thing from happening again, Rowe revealed that he has already ordered changes in the way the agency prepares for future events. He claimed that they would begin to vet the location of events more than usual. They would also attend to perceived threats quicker and more decisively. At another point during the hearing, more evidence also began to emerge about Crooks. This included a social media account believed to be associated with the shooter. It contained several anti-Semitic and anti-immigration posts, which might show his motive for committing such a violent crime. Crooks was also said to have promoted political violence and extremism. But while the hearing was calm for the most part, there were a few heated exchanges. One was with Josh Hawley, whose questions appeared to agitate Rowe. In his address, Hawley questioned why the agency had not fired anyone in very colorful terms. But Rowe resisted the idea, saying that the investigation would have to be completed before anyone would be fired. Hawley then shot back, saying, "You've been on the job a few days so far. You've fired nobody." At this point, Rowe became emotional. He stated that he had lost sleep over that for the last 17 days, but he wasn't ready to rush to judgment. He claimed that while it is essential to hold people accountable, he just didn't want to persecute people unfairly. After weeks of investigation, the Secret Service eventually started dishing out punishments in late August. At least 5 agents were selected to be punished. This included the head of the Pittsburgh field office, an agent on Trump's detail, and 3 others in the Pittsburgh office. However, it's still unclear if all these actions are disciplinary or just a coincidence. Secret Service agents are sometimes placed on leave during investigations for various reasons, including mental health relief. Within the agency, there is an ongoing investigation by the Internal Affairs Division. This would mark out even more people for adequate punishment. However, the Secret Service is yet to officially confirm the agents were placed on leave. When approached for a comment, spokesman Anthony Guglielmi declined. But he said the service is currently examining the processes, procedures, and factors that led to this operational failure. In the Secret Service, there are protocols to follow before placing an agent on leave. During the duration of their administrative leave, the personnel would still collect their paychecks and report to the office. They would typically be assigned paperwork or other administrative roles instead of day-to-day duties. They could also be disciplined further and granted suspension without pay, which would also revoke their security clearance. However, this doesn't appear to be the case just yet. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one.